Yes. Okay. Cool.
Cool.
Man of few words. Thank
Yay.
you. So-
All
thank-
right. Can't wait for today's lesson.
I know. I'm so excited this works. Okay. Absolutely amazing. That is like I feel like I just won a gold medal. I know it's not that important, but that was pretty accomplished for me. Okay. Let me So just in general, housekeeping stuff, because I have a lot of stuff to tell you guys. We are like 8 days till the election. Um, I was gonna say, I know it's working. I think we figured it out. Like there is some like almost shadow program or something related to TikTok Studio that was had the volume up like outside of TikTok Studio, it was like there was a duplicate program and it's muted now. So I still can't figure out where it came from. I'm not even sure if it's deleted from my computer, but I know it is muted. So like here's for mini wins. And now I need to move my chat box. Okay, cool. Got it. This is awesome. I'm getting so okay, guys. Tap the screen, share the live. Again, we have 8 days left till the election. I've been going to a ton of Democratic Party events, as you guys know, which I find physically exhausting. And I do so miss doing lives. It's just very hard to organize and do both. Again, all of the stuff that I'm about to present, we're going to go over the Madison Square Garden, Trump, whatever you want to, a fascist rally from hell that took place, in honor of the one from 1939. All of the things in the outline we're going to go over are available in the Discord. If you would like a link to the Discord, just let one of the mods know, and we will get you on. Or message Felice Navidad. Is it? Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've done this. What is it, Felice Navidad? Okay, mods, can you take care of that? If you guys want to link to the Discord, if you are in the Discord, all of the information we're going to go over on this live is available in the Discord. Um, this is number 2 in the outline. I'm just gonna get started because we have a lot of stuff to go over. I'm sure that it was hard to miss. Yeah, Feliz Navidad Live. It's a TikTok account. Just look up Feliz Navidad Live and just message that account. It's a business account and just say, I want to link to the Discord. And all of these clips, my goal is to create outlines and give people clips and information that they can then take and use to make their own content, and things of that nature. So all the articles and the clips are available in the Discord. So yesterday, Madison Square Garden, the absolute S show of all S shows. It's so funny because I was having this conversation um, with people just talking about the Joe Rogan thing on Friday or whenever it was when he was like 8 hours late to that Michigan rally, and I was like, I. I I think I was talking to Bad Views, and he was just like, "Oh, you never know. Like maybe Joe Rogan will fact check him." I'm like, Trump did not come this far, right, to give it all up now and to make stupid mistakes on Joe Rogan's live. Like, there's no way he's gonna slip up and say something stupid. Like, he's with it. He's inside 10 days. All he's got to do is just not do anything too nuts. And then comes the Madison Square Garden rally. It's honestly mind boggling. Like, talk about a self inflicted wound. Like, I don't know if you guys, I mean, I'm Hispanic. I'm not a Puerto Rican, but I was on Puerto Rican Twitter last night, and man, are they angry at Trump. Just to give you an idea of like I was reading there's hundreds of thousands and it's not like a couple 100,000. I think I think it's over 300,000. It's probably closer to 500,000. There are hundreds of thousands of specifically Puerto Ricanos just in Pennsylvania. Just to give you an idea of the damage that Trump has done by deciding to have, that very inappropriate, bigoted rally. Like, even though he enjoyed it and probably got a lot of laughs, I don't know what could possibly be more damaging. Like, what he could have done that would have damaged him more than that rally yesterday. And It's also kind of ironic. It was even MSNBC played it, which I think was pretty good strategically. You don't want to miss any, and you don't want anyone on earth to miss that. Now, benefits for Trump, he did that on Sunday during a bunch of NFL football games. So, like, maybe for him, less people watched it. I doubt it. I don't know how you could miss the clips today. Like, it's absolutely horrific what is going on. I think we can all agree. But I just so this is number two in today's outline, and Benny was looking at this and saying how cool it is. Ron Filipkowski, who everyone knows, he's one of my favorite political strategists. He used to work in the Florida Republican Party. He's a prosecutor. He now is like one of the or maybe editor in chief for Midas Touch. But he's great, and he does daily recaps of politics, or like on the weekend, like a weekend political wrap. And his explanation of what happened at that rally in Madison Square Garden is so funny. Like, I mean, it's not funny, it's quite sad for Trump. But so like the speakers, and I'm just gonna probably break into content soon and just show you guys these clips because you won't even believe it unless you've seen it. But like, I mean, it was the all the usual suspects. Like Trump had angry childhood friends, to politicians, to the usual Tucker Carlson out of his mind, Stephen Miller, out of his mind. Rudy Kaludi was there being wheeled around in a wheelchair, slurring his words. Rudy was on the sauce yesterday, but managed to stand up while he slurred his way through the most ridiculous speech I have ever heard in my actual life. Elise Stefanik, Mike Johnson, oh my God, what a mess. RFK Jr., good old dark MAGA Elon Musk was back, acting so weird. Lara Trump, Eric Trump, Don Jr. were trotted out. Melania with the most awkward hug of all time. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. Rudy Giuliani was, like I said, I'm going to just be nice and say slurring. I don't know. Maybe he's on medication. I don't know what's going on with Rudy, but he started screaming in the beginning, that he had visited New Palestine. I think he's talking about the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, but he couldn't even remember the names. He was an absolute shit show. Then they had, Tony Hinchcliffe, which has to be the biggest disaster of all time. Tony Hinchcliffe, this comedian, comes up and just does a whole, 20-minute segment on bigotry and racism. You can't write this. Like, the same Hispanic voters that Trump's been working so hard to somehow bamboozle and not notice that he's talking about deporting them all, then he goes and basically starts insulting Puerto Ricanos, like to the point where Bad Bunny and Jennifer Lopez are like out of their minds angry on Twitter last night. So I think it is best. Oh, yeah, it's comedy. It's hilarious. We'll see if the hundreds of thousands of registered Puerto Rican voters in Pennsylvania alone find it hilarious. You can be the judge. I mean, I'm indigenous Mexican. As somebody with Hispanic descent, I don't find any of it funny, but yeah, like I'm not surprised that you do. Sorry, I'm just responding to someone in the comments. Yeah, well, someone in the comments does. I know, Lori, I'm with you. Who does find horrifically racist jokes, calling the Puerto Rico an island of garbage? Most of us would recognize, especially 9 days inside of a presidential election, alienating the literal voters you need to pull you over the line might be a bad idea. Can I scroll? Sorry, this is my first time in TikTok Studio, so I'm just discovering like what I can and can't do. Okay, cool. I can scroll back up on comments. Sorry. Just making sure I know what's what. Okay, I'm gonna switch really quick to clips. And again, this whole outline is available in the Discord. Every clip, every article we talk about are all in the Discord, so you can find them. And I always start at the bottom. Don't ask me why, but that's where we're starting on number 51. So give me one. God, this guy is a mess. This guy is a mess. Let me turn the volume a little down. Can you guys hear okay?
It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies too. Just know that.
Okay, cool. I just wanted. There we go. This is Tony Hinchcliffe. This is the comedian that I am talking about that literally starts off the Trump rally.
I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country. Republicans are the party with a good sense of humor. I welcome migrants to the United States.
Which you guys just can't even understand. I mean, as someone who lived in Manhattan for a while, I would never go to Manhattan and start insulting Puerto Ricanos. It's a very bad decision in Manhattan, and I can't believe Trump made it. And I think my whole thesis statement of this, as we go through it, and it gets more and more horrific, is just the point. Trump knew exactly what he was doing, right? After the fact, saying, "Oh, just kidding," like the campaign didn't know he was going to say that, or we don't those views aren't reflected. This Tony Hinchcliffe has a long history online uh of making bigoted and racist comments, right? There are videos of him like attacking other comedians because of their race. This was well known. You can't even get into a rally, just as someone who's been going to a lot of political events, you have to give your social security number to stand and watch political events, right? Like, let alone tell me, oh, we didn't know what he was going to say. Like, the entire theme of this rally was bigotry and racism and the replacement theory. That's what it was. This was literally a reinforcement. People are using the same words, Stephen Miller, as literally 1939 you know whose rally. The same exact words. Guys, tap the screen gift. I do rely on your tips and donations to keep my live stream going. Again, all this content is available in the Discord. If you want a link to the Discord, ask a mod. My Cash App and Venmo is a girl has no name. And if you do donate, leave a funny message, and then periodically throughout the show, I will read them aloud, like F. Mary Banish, questions, comments. I think we can also take opposition. Again, Trump's unfit to be president. If you would like to argue the opposite, or as we go through and hear the absolutely horrific things that Trump thinks is appropriate to say, you are more than welcome to come up and refute what I'm saying. No problem whatsoever. I'm gonna get really good at it. This is literally my first time on TikTok Studio. This is much easier than I thought it was, is the
In the
good
middle
news.
of the ocean right now.
Yeah, this is okay. Here we go. This is the floating island of garbage moment when he decided to,
A
he
lot
thought it'd
going
be
on.
best.
Like, I don't know if you guys know, floating island of garbage. A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody. A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a float.
Normally, I don't follow the national anthem. I mean, New York City is such a melting pot. So to be there and say that stuff, I'm not surprised it was silent. That is not the thing to be laughing at in New York City. Like even Trump's own people, and these are, like I said, this is Trump's audience, the people that are allowed at Trump rallies. As someone who has received a letter with my name on it saying I'm never allowed to attend one, like I happen to know it is very much people that agree with the things that he is doing and saying. So if you can't get laughs out of your own bigoted audience who always supports you, you might have a problem. Yeah, and
A lampshade? Look at
it
this guy.
literally just got worse and
All
worse. So
right.
then he starts doing like audience work.
All right. Heck yeah. It's a cool black guy with a thing on his head. What the hell is that? A lampshade? Look at this guy. Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm just kidding. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. All right. Heck yeah.
I
It's a cool
mean,
black guy with a thing.
I, I can't say it. I literally cannot say it. I cannot say what he just said, but I mean, we all heard it. Like this is not a drill, people. This is real life. This is what and you heard the laughs. Like that was the biggest laugh, right? Like that people were like, "Yeah, good one." Again, just in Pennsylvania alone, hundreds of thousands of Puerto Rican voters. Forget black voters. I mean, this is probably the dumbest thing Trump could have done. Truly. Okay, and then oh man, this guy. And some of my clips on this part are a little out of order just because. Why are my Sorry guys, hold on one second. I'm just waiting for this to load because I have so many windows open. I want to close them. I open. Guys, keep tapping the screen, share the live. We are taking opposition. If you do disagree with what I said, you are more than welcome to come up here and refute it. Just a friendly reminder. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I'm just reopening my outline. I'm getting pretty good at this. Okay. Yes. Okay, again, this is Sid Rosenberg, and I just wanted to remind you guys, hold on one second. I just want to remind you guys who Sid Rosenberg is. Do you guys remember when, what were their name? Like the Rutger women's basketball team, like I believe it's the women's basketball team, like won a basketball championship. They were amazing. And then if you remember like that old, I don't know if he's a political commentator or just like a commentator, Don Imus. Do you remember that guy? And he said like called them nappy headed H word. Well, this guy, we're about to listen to this clip. It is his like he was Don Imus's like sidekick. Like, he also got fired.
Before I create
For saying, like, he went with his name is Sid Rosenberg, and I was like, I could not remember how I'd seen him before. That's who it is. So, like, I just want to point out that Trump got a guy who's known all over the internet as being a bigot and a racist and being a comedian that loves to make those types of jokes. Then he stacked up a lineup of people to speak who were going to express anti-immigrant, anti-minority views, right?
So, before I create this piece of art, I would just like to give the art world a little something. I got it here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Bam! So...
Sorry, and that's a computer. Sorry, I just got some pop-up I've never seen before. But that's an artist. I don't know if you guys know who that guy is. That guy goes to Trump rallies and takes the stage and paints these insane canvases of Trump, like depicted as Jesus or as generally Lee, just crazy different things. And the reason he's flipping off everyone and angry at the art world is because it's not being well received. Like, people are very angry that he continues to do this stuff.
A sick son of a bitch.
Now again, this is Sid
The whole
Rosenberg.
fuck.
This is Don
She is
sidekick.
some sick bastard, that Hillary Clinton, huh? What a sick son of a bitch. The whole fucking party, a bunch of degenerates, lowlives, Jew haters, and lowlives. Every one of them. Every one of them. She is some sick bastard, that Hillary Clinton, huh? What a sick son of a bitch. The whole fucking party, a bunch of degenerates, lowlives, Jew haters, and lowlives. Every one of them. Every one of them. She is some sick bastard, that...
Yeah, so again, this is Sid Rosenberg. This is Don Imus's old, like, sidekick. Some of the people that were speaking at this rally, like, I cannot even figure out who they are, but, like, a lot of them just have a long time connections to Trump, and there are people who are willing to get on stage at Madison Square Garden and express bigoted views and bigoted beliefs. So I'm just going to close some of these millions of windows I've opened. Better. Oh, God. And then you know who was a real star at this place? You're never gonna guess. Oh, I thought my computer was... Oh, I am open. I see. Sorry. I just opened. I got it now. I'm just opening more and more windows. This is Alina Habba. Do you remember, like, think about what a lawyer's job is: obscurity, anonymity, defending your client. Please just watch Alina Habba. This is real life. This is Trump's, lawyer weird sidekick, political operative.
And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
MAGA jacket.
And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do, and every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do, and
No, oh, as a lawyer, you're supposed to be a sad, no personality show. No, you're supposed to abide by ethics. Like, I don't know if you know, for instance, the reason, and I'll show you in clips since you seem largely uninformed about what's going on with Alina Habba. You know, Alina Habba and Trump have to pay Hillary Clinton $1 million because as a lawyer, right, you abide by a code of ethics. You don't file frivolous lawsuits repeatedly with no standing because your malignant narcissist boss tells you to. So that's just if you can look up the long list of fines and egregious violations that Alita Haba has been sanctioned for in different courts all over. Yeah, no, she's a terrible lawyer, in case you're wondering. And if I was such a bad lawyer who didn't even know how to, like, I don't know, enter exhibits into evidence during a trial, I probably wouldn't be dancing around bedazzling jackets. That's all. That's the only point I'm trying to make. But again, you're welcome to come up here and defend her. Guys, keep tapping the screen, share the live gift. I do rely on your tips and donations to keep my show going and keep doing this. They are much appreciated. Oh, cool. Guests. And I think I recognize someone. Hold on, let me go to. I know one of these people. Sean, I haven't talked to you in a long time. Sorry, I don't know how long you've been waiting, but
Hey, Felice.
hello. Hey.
Hi. I see you've been busy. I've been,
Good.
you've been, you're all over my For You page, even though we have different opinions.
You can't shake me, Sean. Maybe that's because you are lurking on my stuff and you don't understand how algorithms work, and then you just keep coming out.
I'm not lurking.
Shuck, it's even ready for the election to be over.
I am ready for
I'm
this to
just
be
saying,
over.
if I keep coming up on your page, that's because you want me to. You just don't
Or
want to
is it,
admit it
or
to
is it
yourself.
Or is it the Russians algorithm trying to
That's true.
put
Well,
things
we
in?
don't know. Yeah, that's a great point. We'll never know. But what did you think of the rally last night?
I loved it, except for the comedian. I don't think that that was very nice, and I'm pretty sure that Trump plans on denouncing that.
Okay, well, let's just say this. Every speaker echoed exactly what the comedian said. Do you understand that? Like every speaker
Hold
had
on.
bigoted and racist undertones, including Donald Trump. Every speaker that what got up was spewing pathological lies, like all the same themes that the comedian. At least he was a professional comedian.
Yeah, sorry, my dogs are freaking out. I had
No,
to
that's
mute.
okay.
It's
I think
just
I've
mommy.
seen your
Relax.
dog before. He's cute.
Yeah, I have two. I have two, a boxer and a German Shepherd. They're
Yeah, and Donald Trump has not. Like, and just to be clear, let me just tell you how denouncing something works. That comedian went first. He's the first one on the stage, Tony Hinchcliffe. He goes up there, says that stuff. Immediately, Trump could walk out. Or let's say, like, we know Trump's late to everything. So, because he took the stage, I think, 2 hours late. When Trump takes the stage, he immediately could have said, "Hey, guys, I just want to make sure, I appreciate my Hispanic voters. Like that comedian was saying some stuff that was completely inappropriate. Like that does not reflect my views. Like everyone's welcome." That would be denouncing it. Sean.
yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I mean, it's not Trump who's said they has come out and said not his script or what he was going to be saying at all. So I mean, you got to give the benefit of the doubt a little bit, and I would expect all of them to get together and denounce some of the comments that were made by that comedian. Even though there is a form of satire with comedians, it's not the time or place to do that. As a Trump supporter, I think it was wrong. But Trump didn't say it. Trump didn't write a speech. So Trump really he is responsible for having him on his
But
stage,
you're right though.
I
But
guess.
isn't the
But
time to denounce him right when you go up on the stage and say, "Oh, hey, like I'm really trying to get Hispanic votes." Now would be the time. If I didn't believe, if I didn't find that funny, if I thought it was inappropriate, Time is of the essence. He still hasn't done anything.
I don't think Trump was even so at that point. I don't think Trump was even watching. I think he'll watch it after
You're
he
telling,
planned on watch.
hey, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Drudge Report, this is frontline story. This is Trump at the Garden, a closing carnival of
So
grievances,
he said something
misogyny, and
about floating
racism.
trash.
This is the front page of the New York Times.
So okay, no. Well, the front page of the New York Times was actually turning Madison Square Garden into MAGA Square Garden.
Okay, this is on the front page of the New York Times. So what I'm saying, Sean, is
Okay.
immediately the campaign,
Oh, the New
still
York
that
Post.
same
The New
day,
York Post.
like hours out, like let's say 1 or 2 hours after the rally yesterday, the campaign, not Donald Trump, the campaign can't speak, but without clearing it with Donald Trump, they work for him. Instead of Donald Trump doing what you're
He
saying, you
doesn't.
think it would be
He
right.
doesn't.
I agree with you. It'd be right if he apologized and said, hey, I don't share those views. All of that is wrong. He has not done that.
I don't think he shares those views. I don't think many people share
Okay,
those.
then he's had time. He
And I
had his
think
own
there was a lot of
campaign
satire.
refute it.
What makes sense about floating garbage? What makes sense about floating garbage? Because
Do you want me to explain the racist joke to you?
I've been to Puerto Rico. I don't know if that.
Yeah, I'll tell you
Can you
what
explain the
he's drawing.
satire to
Yeah,
me?
I'll
Because
tell
I
you.
don't
He's
understand it.
drawing an illusion or metaphor between what he was trying to get people to think he was talking about was like climate crisis. You probably don't know this, but larger than like the continent of Europe in the middle of the Pacific Ocean is a giant floating island of garbage. We can't get rid of
I know
plastics
the
and things
plastic
like that.
island.
They
I
are
know that.
floating in the Pacific Ocean. So when he said, oh, I don't know if you guys know what's going on, what he's trying to do is draw an illusion and say, oh, I'm going to talk about the problem about waste and how we can't get rid of plastics and how they're floating in the middle of the ocean. And then he's like, nope, just
So
kidding. I'm a
Puerto Rico
racist who's
plastic.
talking about the island of Puerto
So,
Rico.
now, what is his ethnicity?
Whose? Hinchcliffe? I mean, that's a very British name, but I don't
The
know. I
comedian.
like
I've never even heard of that guy.
Hinchcliffe's a super British type name. It gives very Lord
Okay,
and
I've
knightly.
never even heard of. He looked a little yellow to me. He didn't look white.
Okay,
So I don't know if
again,
it was the lighting.
John, that has nothing to do with anything. Like, this is my thing. I do believe you have effective empathy, and I've seen it at times. So, and you are sitting here, you're up here saying, I know that this is wrong. Like, I didn't like it. It didn't make me feel good. And the answer is, if Trump was like you and had a shred of decency, then he could have typed out a little truth. He fires off hundreds of angry True Social messages. He could have said, I don't agree with that guy. He could have just said those words. Just like
Okay.
he lies about Project
All
2025
right. And
until he's blue in the face and says, I don't know anything about it. He could have been like, I didn't hire that guy. I don't
okay.
agree with him. End of story. But he didn't.
Listen.
Trump
So it's
is
only been.
making
It
America
hasn't even
gross.
been 24 hours.
Trump
So
is Oh, how
it
long? You're
hasn't been
kidding, right?
24
Again,
hours,
we're going to
Felice.
go through it. This is your chance to hold Trump accountable, to be honest about something and hold Trump
It's even been
accountable,
24
Sean.
hours.
He's done something
Hold on.
awful.
Hold on a second. This is a stretch. Is what it is. That's a
What's a
stretch, Felice, and
stretch?
you know it. Okay. This is my
Okay,
chance to hold Trump
I'm sorry.
accountable.
How long do you have, Sean, when you put on an
He didn't
event
even
at
say that
Madison
stuff.
Square Garden 8 days before a presidential election, and you winning that election depends on the votes of Spanish speakers in swing states? How long do you have, Sean, before you say, "Oh, I don't think that was funny"? I'm just asking you, like in your timeline.
Well, at the end of the day, I would say he'll probably say something. Asked, do you owe an apology to this community for what was said? But on Fox News, when Kamala was asked if she owes an apology to the people who were
Oh, you're doing a what
unalived by
about? You're
illegal
doing a what about?
immigrants.
You're pivoting out
No,
of the
I'm
line of
doing a
logic, Sean?
comparison. If you're going to hold Trump accountable for somebody else's
No,
actions,
you're
then why
doing a
can't you
what
hold
about?
Kamala
You're doing
accountable
a
for
what
somebody
about?
else's
I
actions?
asked you how long. You said it hasn't even been 24 hours. He's offended his entire voter base. Let me
It
just tell you,
hasn't.
as a transactional narcissist,
Maybe he
Trump's
doesn't
making
even know.
this is how
He's so
stubborn Trump
busy.
is because Trump doesn't care about anyone. I would encourage everyone to. I think that Trump comes from an era where racism was very prevalent. I do think he probably is, a bigot, and we've seen that. But narcissists truly are transactional. All they're thinking is, I am God. What is best for me in this moment as God, and who I transact with to get those things. So the fact that he is so stubborn and so bigoted that even knowing, hey, the best thing I could do here is say, is denounce this. It's the best thing for my campaign and to poll voters in the middle of the road over the line. And he's still not doing it. He's shooting, it's called ballistic podiatry, shooting yourself in the foot.
Okay, is this all you got? So can we talk more about the rest of it? So tell me where the misogyny
If
was
you would
at.
like to pivot to a new line of logic, go ahead.
No,
You
I'm
can
not. No,
start a
because
new
listen,
line of logic,
we
Sean.
will agree.
Sean, it's not all I've got.
We
You are
can agree
painted
to
into a
disagree.
corner and you have nothing else to say because you know it is wrong.
I said it was wrong, and I said
Thank
that it's
you.
not Trump's fault that it was said. So we
Yeah,
can
no, it
agree that
is.
it was
And
wrong.
listen, and you did interrupt my presentation because I was going to provide proof of that. There are racist texts. There are dozens upon dozens of ungodly racist text or tweets available on Tony Hinchcliffe's X/Twitter, whatever you know it and love it as, right now. I mean, they go years and years back. Horribly racist things. That's what I'm trying to tell you. As someone who goes to campaign events, they do background checks on everybody there. This is publicly
Well, the first thing
available
I said is,
information.
who
There
hired
are
this guy?
videos, Sean, of him yelling racist stuff at other comedians. All of this stuff is publicly available on the internet. And you're telling me Trump's doing a rally at Madison Square Garden and no one vetted him? They knew exactly who he was. That's what I'm trying to say. You keep saying you can't control what this guy said. Every single speaker that went on that stage was on message, was spewing the replacement theory,
Then you
was
got a whole
spewing
scene.
lies, was spewing bigotry, and particularly was spewing racism.
Okay.
Everybody was on message. That was a well-oiled machine. It's not like we had one outlier and then everyone else was like, oh my God, like what's this guy doing?
Listen, I was
Every
like, who the hell
single
hired this
speaker
guy?
was on message.
Oh, he's fired. He got fired immediately.
Trump hires all the
They
best
probably
people.
won't.
Someone in the comments said
They,
that, and it's so true. And that's another
they
job.
probably.
Like, think about it. That's another job of someone in charge is to have the buck stops with Donald Trump. Same thing with January 6th when he sat either impotently in that dining room next
Now
to
you're
the
pivoting.
Oval Office doing nothing, or he was applauding a coup. Whichever it was, or a combination of the two, he's a terrible leader.
Can you tell me what was misogynistic about the at the rally?
Are you joking? You are joking. There were threats after
You,
threats after
you said
threats
it.
against Hillary Clinton, against Kamala Harris. They were implying over and over and over that Kamala Harris has in some way slept her way to the top. Sean, you are up here debating and you clearly did not watch the rally. Second only to the never-ending amount of bigotry
I
and
listen. I watched
racism
the entire
focused on
freaking thing.
migrants, focused on people who have legally
Every
immigrated to this
guest
country.
speaker.
Meanwhile,
You took
Melania and
every
Elon
guest
Musk,
speaker.
people who have violated our country's immigration and visa laws, are hanging out like on the stage giving a thumbs up. But second only to that was the misogyny, the
How did they
never-ending
violate the
misogyny.
immigration law?
Taylor Swift. I mean, every woman they
How
feel
did violate?
threatened by, they attacked relentlessly over and over and over. So the slut shaming
I
was
wouldn't say
the
that. I wouldn't.
second largest theme. I'm sorry if you didn't see it. I was going through clips. You could have waited 10 more minutes. You could have
You,
seen all of
you,
them.
well, I mean, I feel like you're just like very triggered by a lot of
I'm
things
triggered,
and
or I
overly
just
triggered.
I'm
So
an active listener. It's one of the, or I actually
what
I
what
watched the rally. Sean, you
very
didn't even
sensitive.
watch it. You're up here arguing for your Lord and
Yes,
Savior, Orange Jesus, and you have no
I
idea what even
watched it.
happened yesterday. But if you want, you could
I
also
watched
read
the entire
articles. You
thing. I
don't
thought
have
it
to
was
watch
beautiful.
6 hours you'll never have back. You could also read the hundreds of articles. Here we go again. What does it say here? What does it say on the front of the New York Times? Trumpet Garden, a closing carnival of grievances, misogyny, and racism. Let's see what this New York Times article says, and maybe we can find some of the misogyny. Let's see. The comedian called Puerto
Paper,
Rico a
Felice.
floating island of garbage, then mocked Hispanics as failing to use birth control, Jews as cheap,
Who
Palestinians
owns
as
that
rock
newspaper?
throwers, and called out a black man in the audience with a reference to a watermelon. Oh, here's the misogyny. So open up your ears, Sean. You have a daughter? I remember that because I remember things about you. And it's time to protect your daughter and understand that this is the future. You're dooming her to. Another speaker likened Vice President Kamala Harris to a prostitute with pimp handlers. A third called her the Antichrist. And the former Fox News host Tucker Carlson mocked Miss Harris, the daughter of an Indian mother and a Jamaican father with a made up ethnicity, saying she was vying to become the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ former California prosecutor, lowest IQ California prosecutor ever to be elected president. That's just one quote.
Okay. All right. Who owns that newspaper?
What newspaper? The New York Times, a
The New York
conglomerate of
Times.
people, a conglomerate,
But who's the main person?
a bunch of different investors, Republicans. The CEO is a Republican.
Oh, Jeff
Okay,
Bezos
so
doesn't own
stop
that?
trying to do that. You choose a source. Wall Street Journal is reporting the same thing, owned by
Look up the
Rupert
New York
Murdoch,
Post.
a Trump simp. The Wall Street Journal's
Look up
reporting
New
the
York
same thing.
Post.
Sean, don't do it. You can look up any publication across the political spectrum, ideology aside. They are all reporting the same things. You can. It's a
MAGA
quote.
Square
I
Garden
read for you, Sean,
on the
a
front of the
quote.
New York Post. Listen, I just have a hard time getting my news from somebody who donates to the
Sean, you have a
DNC.
hard time me reading you quotes that people said. I have the clips. I have the clips.
From somebody who, we're not going to talk about the 20,000 people inside the sold out
Sean,
arena.
are
We're
you
not going to talk about
saying
the
you are
10,000
doubting
people outside.
reality and that this happened? You're saying that the New York Times, you could easily be sued for misquoting people. This story is made up? Is that's where we're at?
Listen, if you are so, if
Sean,
somebody
I
is so
watched it all
dense to
happen.
blame
I can
Trump,
tell you, I heard it. I've
to
watched Tucker
blame
Carlson's
Trump
part of
for
this like 5 times. I clipped it twice.
then you've never really watched Tucker Carlson. Have you ever heard of satire?
I've never really watched Tucker Carlson. You have no idea what you're talking about. I have watched Tucker Carlson.
This is the only thing. This is the last stretch. The only thing you guys have. The only little bit of thread to hold on to because you're all unraveling.
Sean, you are projecting your own what's happening to you onto the
I'm
rest of
comfortable.
us
I
right
voted
now.
yesterday.
You are unraveling. You are backed into a corner, and you are having to face. You have a daughter, and a misogynistic, racist creep is about to become president. You are relegating your daughter to a life of misery. And the cognitive dissonance is now spewing out of you. And you're like, it's everyone else. It's not me. No, it's you, Sean. You said when
But
you
I
came
know.
up
I
here,
know. I
I
got
don't like
results
what
from.
that guy said. It wasn't
I,
just the comedian. That's the cognitive dissonance. It was every speaker that had got up there, including Donald Trump. He said racist
oh
things.
my
He said
lord.
misogynistic things. He did. He lied
Okay.
repeatedly.
So what about y'all at the wrong rally? What about her
We're
switching up
pivoting.
her? No, I'm saying like you want to talk about it because these are the two candidates that are really the ones you got to vote for. Either one of them are going to be president. Okay, so if your whole premise here is to be a political analyst and sit here and be a pro Kamala, pro Waltz person, you got to be able to have an actual discussion about both candidates, not just sit here and Trump bash.
Okay,
You got to
again,
hold your person
I'm
accountable
sorry
too.
that Donald Trump continues to say bigoted and misogynistic things. All I've done is read articles, read quotes about Trump's day yesterday. You think
Okay,
you are getting agitated because I'm just saying,
I
here are
agree
the
with you.
facts of what happened yesterday, and you don't want to hear it because the
It's
cognitive
not going to
dissonance
change
is
my
like,
vote because he didn't
uh-oh,
say
we
it.
can't be online talking about this. Yeah, because it's horrific and it doesn't sound good. But
It's not
again,
going to
what
change
was
my
your
vote.
pivot? What's your issue with Kamala? What did she do that you don't like?
What do you mean? When she had the rally, and she
Tap the
said,
screen, guys. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to.
somebody said something along the lines of Jesus is Lord, Jesus Christ is Lord, and she said y'all at the wrong rally, and kicked them out. And then they called them
That's
hecklers.
not true. She didn't kick people out for saying Jesus Christ is Lord. Kamala Harris,
He waved
and
to
just
them
as,
as
hey, as someone who's seen her in the last 3 weeks, 3 times or 4 weeks, 3 times, I can tell you she talks constantly about her faith to the point where I don't like it. I like actually, Sean, if you want me to get critical, but this is the nature of elections, right? Kamala Harris is trying to win a general election. Kamala Harris is no longer running for me. I don't like 90% of what she's saying right now, right? She's moving back to the middle to pull. That's what Donald Trump should be doing. Donald Trump should be trying to appeal to moderates, not planning a freaking Shitler rally take two.
well, he's consistent. That's the one thing she's consistently inconsistent, and he's consistently consistent.
No, she's consistently consistent. She's very
No, she switched up her
consistent.
position on many different policies
No,
and
she's
views.
not. She's religious.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, we all know what she's changed her. She didn't want fracking. Now she wants fracking. Who knows if she wants fracking? Who knows? Just one example. She wants to go into
No,
people's
well, hold on.
houses
I'm just gonna
and
make the
make
distinction
sure.
for you, Sean, because I know like you just are trying to think of what's wrong with her. Trump is a horrible bigot and
I
racist and a
can't think of
30 and a
anything like
convicted
it.
felon, and now you're grasping at straws. But I'll say this about Kamala Harris. There's a difference between like, let me just tell you, Felice the candidate would be a different person than Felice the just Felice the individual citizen. Felice the individual
No, the
citizen
police, the district attorney, or whatever.
or well, no, I mean, yeah, well, that's her. I'm not a district, but what I'm trying to tell you is my beliefs, my personal beliefs, right? Like I might like some socialist ideals. That doesn't, I still recognize that change happens in the middle of the country, right? Like I can be far left. It's the same. What my point is you see Bernie Sanders doing it every day. Bernie Sanders, AOC, Ro Khanna, these far left, fringe, progressive Democrats who are working with a coalition that's much farther to moderate and to the middle, right? Do they agree personally with everything? No. Are they voting as a coalition? Are they voting in lockstep? Yes. What I'm saying is Kamala's personal beliefs can be different than recognizing, hey, I'm not here trying to force my personal beliefs on everyone. That's what Republicans do. What she's doing is, hey, I'm a leader and I need to do what's best for everyone. Where's the best compromise in the middle of the country?
Okay. Well, I look. I'm not saying that there's something wrong. This is America. There's nothing wrong with everybody having their own beliefs and what they want to do. But I just feel like the majority of Americans lean more towards conservative views and values, and it's just unfortunate. I wish that
You
we
said you
could find
feel like
sort of.
because you're right. The actual majority of the country is liberal, has a liberal
Well,
bias. If you look up statistically, I'm saying that's why you guys feel so disenfranchised. The average American is probably center left.
I don't believe that.
Okay, well, that's statistically. I'm telling you, the average American there is a liberal bias because the average American can separate. We are moving away from religion. People are becoming more college educated, right? The more
More indoctrinated.
education, the farther we move away from poverty. The more we move away from conservatism. That's why the Republicans are desperate to suppress education in this country, keep
I guess
people
we'll
dumb
see.
and stupid.
I guess we'll see how true that is, Felice, or whether it's your belief or my belief is the truth on Tuesday. Because right now it looks like Donald Trump's going to win the popular vote and he's going to win overall.
Okay,
So
that's delusional. Donald Trump's gonna win the
47%
popular
of
vote. That's like
Americans.
you're giving me. You know what Vivek Ramaswamy at that rally yesterday was like. New York is a swing state. We're gonna win New York. Kamala's winning New York by 15 points. This is my exact point with you guys. You guys are outside. You're just like, I feel like this is true.
So New Jersey's going to turn red too this year, across the board. So will New York. The whole tri-state.
Good for you. Thanks for subscribing, Vicky. Guys, like, subscribe, share the live gift. I appreciate it all. I do rely on your support to keep my show going. It is always much appreciated. Who is in the
Felice, if there's somebody else in the box, you can let him go. I just had one more question. I just had one more question before I leave. What happened with you and Jay? Did I do something to mess that up when I said that you were his boss?
Are you serious?
What happened? You guys don't go live
Sean,
anymore together.
Sean, you first of all are weirdly obsessed with Jay. You and Dale and Shuckett and Northern Border Josh should start a support group. And
Well, what
then
happened?
you guys can gather together and you guys can talk about Jay. I find it very disturbing.
Did he hurt your feelings?
It's almost giving you love him.
I know I like you better.
Hey, oh, thanks. That's the sweetest thing you've ever said. God, I would hope so. But yeah, there's only 8 days left in the presidential election. I do not give a shit about what you're talking about right now. But I know you know, Sean, that what Donald Trump is doing is wrong. You have a daughter. You do not want your daughter to grow up in the world that you're trying to vote for right now.
My daughter's a liberal. She's
Your daughter's
I'm not
a child. Stop.
She's 18.
How old is your daughter?
She's 18.
You have an
Well, she'll be
18-year-old
18 in
daughter?
December. She'll be 18 in December
I
19th.
had no idea. God, I did not know your daughter. I thought she was like 4.
No, she's been indoctrinated by the system just like all the other.
Amazing. Oh my God. Next time bring your daughter so we can, and I'll start a support group with your daughter.
All right, well,
tell her to come listen. You're not so bad, Sean. I know you know what's right. Don't let me down.
I know.
Sorry, I had to do that. Hello. Joe.
Hello.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Felice. So thanks for having me on. I mean, I've been in this live now for about 45 minutes. I've been getting blasted pretty much by most of your comments the whole time. So I was at this rally yesterday, and I just want to say one thing. I know that MSNBC, CNN, all the typical outlets that you guys get your news from has been comparing it to, along with Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris, the Nazi rally of 1939 with Adolf Hitler. And I heard you a few minutes ago yourself compare it to Hitler's rally. And I just want to say I don't think that you could be further misinformed or further against the truth when you say that. The amount of Jewish people that I saw at this rally, I'm not Jewish myself.
Okay.
Okay,
again,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, authoritarian aggression, right? Like being at a schmotzy rally, specifically that authoritarian aggression, the group that Hitler was targeting in fascism was in this case the Jewish people. But fascism, authoritarian aggression, isn't directed at a specific group. It's more born out of necessity, right?
Yes.
It's and self-preservation. So yeah, I agree. Like that's Stephen Miller, right? Stephen Miller took the stage. Stephen Miller is Jewish. Stephen Miller is also a fascist.
You see, I don't know how you can say that. I don't even know if you understand what fascism is.
Is a self-proclaimed Christian nationalist, and literally word for word on the stage quoted Hitler.
Okay. He did that. First of all, that's just wrong.
Articles. I just want to, if you're confused where the parallels are between what happened in 1939 and last night, there are articles that are quoting saying this was said in 1939. This was said here. Here are the themes here. Stephen Miller, when he said America is just for Americans, Hitler said Germany is just for Germans. You can look up. You can do the research, Joe, yourself. and find out why people are saying that. I personally have a history degree in postmodern America. I know all about why what happened yesterday at Madison Square Garden was very similar to what happened in 1939. It sounds like you're
It was similar
confused
because
about
it was in
that.
the same
There
venue.
are
You can't
many
compare it to a Hitler rally.
resources.
It's similar because it was in the same venue. That's the only reason people are saying that.
No. Again,
The amount of Jewish people that were at this
told
rally,
you
there was Israel
otherwise.
flags flying in the
Stephen
crowd.
Miller
Like,
himself, you
as
wanted
far
to
as the
bring
eye
up,
can see,
hey, I just want to be clear,
ridiculous. It's
just
ridiculous.
because Jews attend a fascist rally does not mean it's not fascist. Again,
Okay, so you're telling Jewish people that they went to a rally that was for a person that murdered 6 million of their kind.
I'm going to try again, Joe. I want you to
Okay.
listen to me.
Okay.
Hitler, right, just felt that he needed to target the Jewish people. But authoritarianism, right, fascism, totalitarianism, it doesn't have a specific target. It's just about othering a group, right? In this case, right, what are we doing? We're talking about something different. We're not in America saying, oh, anything anti-Semitic. That's not what was going on. We're targeting who? Brown people, particularly people who have migrated to America, right? So fascism, authoritarianism, totalitarianism, it has a target, not a specific one. You're trying to make the argument, hey, because the target of the 1939 schmazzies seemed to be, which it shows me you don't know anything about what was happening in 1939. It was not. It was many different groups of people. It was twins, it was brown people, it was North Africans, it was Muslims, it was women, it was I can't say, it was the Romney people, who I'm not going to say what is now considered a slur for them. Like, right, there were many groups outside of, you think that the Holocaust was just about Jewish people. It was not.
No, of course not. I would never say that.
Okay, so I'm just explaining to you, the parallels are not, you're just like, the target's different, so there's no parallels. Yeah.
Okay, but would you not agree that the main
poisoning the blood of
reason the Holocaust was brought upon this, Germany was to kill Jewish people? Is that not the main thing that happened in the Holocaust?
What was said at the 1939 rally.
Okay.
So I think completely disregarding this topic, we're going to have to agree to disagree there because there's just no way.
Yeah, you are disagreeing on the facts.
No, I'm not. I'm
sadly not. I'm just
disagreeing.
Yes,
that
you are.
You're calling millions of people in the country
facts
Nazis.
For you,
That's what I'm
you
disagreeing with.
You are emotionally flailing around, saying it's not happening.
I am disagreeing with the fact that you are calling 80 million American citizens Nazis because they support a political candidate.
I never
said
said
that. Where
that.
I'm disagreeing
Okay,
with.
now here we go. Joe's getting emotional and making up things that never happened.
I'm not getting. What do you mean? Is that not what you're doing by saying?
I absolutely never said that. I'm using the words.
You just compared it to the Hitler rally. You just compared it to that.
I said authoritarianism, right? I said totalitarianism. I said fascism. But again, the problem with the masses in 1939, it wasn't that everyone was like, I've got the secret handbook, I'm a bigot, I'm trying to eradicate a certain group of people. That's not what was going on. It was just blind loyalty. It was, hey, hopefully if I just go along with the flow, they won't come for me, right? But eventually,
okay, but this isn't blind loyalty. The guy's been running for office for 10 years.
I'm just proving your point wrong. Your line of logic is collapsing upon itself, and I'm explaining that to you, Joe.
There was no line of. The only thing I said was that it was not a Hitler rally for Nazis. That's the only thing I said. The only thing I said.
Even completely going away from that point, you seem to be very hung up on the fact that this comedian was there to put on a performance. That is not him. First of all, this guy, if you Google him or watch any of his YouTubes or his podcasts or whatnot, he's what's called an insult comedian. He does this to whites, blacks, Asians, Latinos, any race, religion, or creed you can find. That's what comedians do. Those aren't the views of the Trump campaign.
This comedian is an equal opportunity bigot. Is that your new line of logic?
No, it's not. Comedians
make jokes. George Lopez was at a Kamala Harris rally yesterday saying Mexicans are going to steal things from the wall if we don't use it to build the wall. Is he getting ridiculed? No, you won't even hear a peep about it. They're not there to express their views. They're there to put on a performance, a show.
That rally when George Lopez said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And were you offended by it or no?
Was I offended by George Lopez, an older Hispanic? Like I am indigenous Mexican. Like my father
Okay.
is part of the Yaqui tribe. Well, he's half indigenous Mexican and half black. My dad is a Trump supporter. My dad is an older Hispanic male. George Lopez. So I understand how the Hispanic population works, which has to do with colonization, right? The indigenous
Okay.
populations were suppressed. They were forced to convert to Catholicism or be unalived, stop speaking their language, and then the introduction of machismo into Spanish-speaking cultures came, which is misogyny and bigotry. Right. So I understand the historical journey that men like George Lopez and my father took to get to the place to make those jokes. They're self-deprecating. You're talking about Hispanic men speaking about Hispanic men.
Okay, so yeah, it's
You're
only
not
okay to
talking
make
about
jokes about a
Tony
race if you are that
Hinchcliffe,
race. Okay, I got you. Yep.
a white male calling the island of Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. But and
Felice,
again,
that's
Joe,
not what
you
he
think it's
believes.
funny. I
It's a
hear you saying
performance.
this is funny to me,
No,
and
no, no, no,
I'm
no, no. I
telling
never said it
you
was
the
funny.
hundreds of thousands of
I
Hispanic
personally,
voters in swing states may not agree with you. You can go
okay.
on Puerto Rican Twitter and see if they're finding it funny, Joe.
Of course, I understand what you're saying. If somebody said that about America, I think most of us in this chat would be pissed off. That wasn't just a person expressing their views, though. It was a comedian putting on a performance, putting on a show. That's what they do. They don't express their views. They do comedy and they say things that they don't believe in. That's not. You think that's really how he feels, or how a majority of the people at that rally feel, or about how a majority of Americans feel?
Okay, so let me just make sure I'm on your line of logic, Joe, because I want to make sure I'm following you. You're saying that as long as you don't really mean the racism in your heart, it's okay to spew racist rhetoric.
No, that's not even close to what I'm saying.
Okay,
You
but
obviously just are too deep rooted in
I'm
the
saying
argument
it
of
to you in
racism.
another way so you can understand what the line of logic is that you are saying that.
Okay, no, the other jokes that he made at the rally, he made fun of Jewish people at the rally. There were millions of Jewish people that were sitting next to one. I was laughing at it. Puerto Ricans outside of the rally came out and said, "We understand it's a
first line
joke."
of logic, Joe, which is, hey, he's racist against everyone, so it's okay, right?
Just not getting it. You can't be racist if you're putting on a performance. That's the guy wasn't out there expressing his views, saying that he thinks Puerto Rico is a piece of garbage.
Now
It's a
third line of
joke. It's a
logic,
comedy.
he's
It's a
cosplaying
joke.
a racist. Is that where we're at?
Cosplaying a racist.
Got it. So it's okay then, because he was
No,
pretending
it's not okay.
on that stage.
It's not pretend. It's a. Do you understand what the job of a comedian is?
I do, yes.
Okay, it's not to go out there and express their political views.
No,
it's to go out there and make fun of people.
He was trying to entertain an audience.
If you go watch if you watch the Tom Brady roast that he hosted himself, he lights up every individual in that crowd and they all laugh at themselves. That's what's wrong with so much about what's wrong in the country today. Nobody can laugh at themselves anymore. Everything is racist, misogynist. No one knows how to, and that's why there's so much violence and hatred, and no one knows how to laugh anymore.
No one knows how to laugh off racism anymore. Did you hear that, brown and black people in America who are under threat? Just like with the eating the cats and dogs. If we all had a sense of humor, right, when all those bee threats were being called in and all those horrific things were happening and Haitians were being targeted, we all should have just had a sense of humor about it.
No, that's completely different. That's completely different.
No, I'm following your line of logic so that you can understand it doesn't make sense.
So is it racist to say that people from Venezuela that are coming here illegally and taking over apartment complexes, is that racist or is that just fact?
No, no, but there's an article. Do you want me to provide you with a source to refute that fact? No, that's Hello? Can you guys hear me? Where is the chat? Oh, it's here now. Cool. Sorry. Um, sorry. I don't know if I got I don't know what just happened. I didn't do it. I didn't do that is the most important thing to know. But I'm just here on if everyone who was just listening, and Joe, if you're here and you want to request again, you're welcome to come back up and finish the conversation. Sorry, I didn't know if I got banned or what, but I didn't. But I didn't, and I'm back. So there. Um, but this is the New York Times article I was referencing right before the live ended. Oh, hold on. Except it's funny. Hey,
Hey, whoa.
is that like weird elevator music in your background?
For your live on YouTube. That was weird. But what I was coming up to say is I think it was the puzzle piece thing that like makes sure you're not a robot. I heard the noise, it had like a little alerter noise, and it's like a little jingle that comes up. And I know when you're using Live Studio, it like will do that at least once every live.
And I just need to click. I didn't see it pop up, so just let me know when you like hear it and because I have
Yeah.
so many windows open. I don't know.
I know, and that's what I was wondering if like the window
Well, we can
got
talk about
pushed
it later.
behind.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
no
it
worries.
must have because I didn't see it.
Yeah, because they'll shut it down if they think you're a robot. That's all.
Anyways,
All right, I'm leaving. Bye.
bye. Yeah, hi everyone. It's okay. Tap the screen. I am still here. If you want to talk about Trump being a absolute S show and unfit to be president, you can come up here and prove me wrong. Joe, if you are around and want to continue our conversation, I did not kick you. I thought I got banned, but I did not. So we can continue our conversation. But this is the story. This was the article I was referencing, which you can. This is an in-depth, right? If you're going to start citing that Trump and Trump's lies about Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado, I do suggest you read this New York Times article, how the false story of a gang takeover in Colorado reached Trump. This is the mayor, people in the police department talking about how this is a lie and how it has in fact been debunked. Hold on, I think we have a guest request. I'm still getting used to figuring out how to do all this. Oh, is that Joe? I think that might be Joe. Is that the same picture? Is that you, Joe? Did you change your
Hello. Yes.
picture?
It's me.
Okay. Okay, cool.
I thought I got banned or something there.
No, I thought that's what I thought I got banned. I didn't. I think this is my first time on TikTok Studio and I'm like figuring that. I think I needed to
Okay.
like do some sort of that puzzle piece thing and I never saw it pop up. So I think we're both good.
Yeah.
But this is the
No
article I
worries.
was
But
talking about, like how the false story of a gang takeover in Colorado reached Trump. This is a New York Times
yep.
article, but you can just Google this and it will walk you through where this whole conspiracy theory got started on X, how it reached Trump, how the people, the mayor of Aurora, the police department have been working tirelessly to debunk these lies. And these are Republicans. These, who are like, hey, it's the same thing that happened in Springfield, Ohio. They're like, this isn't funny anymore. Stop lying.
Listen, I understand what you're trying to say there. That's actually kind of nitpicked that for that headline. They're not saying that. They're only debunking that it was a complete like and total gang takeover of the town. Because I
No,
will agree
I've
that's
read this
obviously not
whole
happening. The
article.
entire
I've read
town's
this
not.
whole. No,
It,
it's much more than that. That's not true,
it's
Joe.
happened, Felice. It's happening. It's
No,
not
it's
an
not
entire
happening.
town takeover. It
Anyways,
is happening.
this article
Martha Raddatz, you
directly
could watch the
refutes the
interview. It's
lies that
happening.
you're telling right now, right? And this actually,
They're
what it
not
started
lies.
as and what the rumor was, since you're going to continue lying, was that an
It's not lies.
apartment complex, one apartment complex
That's one too many,
inside
Felice.
one. No, okay, hold on. I'm not even done because that was also a lie,
Okay.
Joe. Joe, I'm going to walk you through how you are wrong. You are wrong. This article systematically breaks down that you are currently spreading misinformation. The only
Okay.
thing, the rumor that turns out to be a lie that was investigated was there was an apartment complex that had been taken over, and the name escapes me, of the Venezuelan gang. This was investigated
Trende
and
Aragua.
this was investigated and completely debunked. That's what this article talks about. I
Yeah, they're
encourage you to
debunking that
read
it was
it.
an entire town takeover by a gang.
No,
Not they're
you
just saying
are
it was only
wrong.
one apartment complex.
This is interviewing people at the apartment complex, debunking that even an entire, basically what the end of the article is, hey, there could be a few people who may have gang affiliation living in this apartment complex, but certainly this apartment complex has not, in fact, been taken over by any gangs, U.S.
Yeah, they're not living. They're
or
not just
outside.
living there, Felice. They're
It's a
there
complete
conducting gang
lie,
business
Joe.
and running their
Joe,
business out of
it's
the
a complete
complex.
lie. So let's
It's not a
pivot to
complete lie. It's
it
just not.
is. It is.
It's
And
really not.
again,
The
anybody who
only thing that
gets
they're saying is that it's
of an
not a
uninformed
city.
person that comes into your live
No,
spreading this lie,
it's not a
I
lie,
welcome
Felice.
everyone to
It's
read
not a
this
lie
article.
just
You
because
can
you don't
also
like it.
listen to it. It's pretty long and in depth to explain the trail of lies. It's 11 minutes just to listen to it. It's a long article, but again, if you're looking to systematically debunk the lies that not even one apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado, in fact, was occupied by any Venezuelan gang, this is the article that will provide the truth.
No, the mayor of the town said that the incidents were limited to, quote, several apartment complexes in the city of more than 400,000 residents, end quote. Yes, they are saying there was not an entire town takeover, but
There was
any
not
apartment
even one
complex that's being
apartment
run over by a
complex.
Venezuelan gang of illegal migrants is one too many for the United
Again,
States of America.
caught in the middle of a number of migrants living in dilapidated apartments that Aurora officials now call squalor amid criminal elements. And I'm going to get into this because I just also, the real truth is, it turns out when you actually read, Joe, you clearly are just flailing around looking for quotes online, is
No, I'm
that
reading.
the
I'm
truth
quoting a
is,
CBS
and the
News
real
article.
person that they are blaming is a slumlord, a Republican slumlord who refuses to do maintenance in these buildings and has people living in squalor. And the city is now taking action against a slumlord who won't help people who are paying rent make improvements to their apartments. This is the simple case of capitalism gone wrong, Republican slumlord. But shocking. We should have known. It always leads back to capitalism and greed. Because of one or two Venezuelans who wanted to do something wrong, we are now all accused of something. There are many people from this apartment complex being interviewed in this article. They interview police, they interview the mayor, they interview everyone. And whose fault this is a Republican slublord.
Okay, well, the only point I was trying to make that anytime that there's people coming in here illegally from countries, from some of the most violent gangs in the world illegally and performing their gang business in American cities and attempting to run drugs and committing murders as they murdered a 25-year-old innocent man,
Business?
that's completely wrong.
Yes.
Yes, the gang Trendel Agua, that's the apartment complex where they're living and doing illegal things. Yes.
Okay, so let's get into that because I do want to talk about that. Like, because you're again so what do we do with criminal activity, like if there is a concentration statistically of criminal activity, right, we can never lower instances of crime to zero, but at that point where we see statistical trends in criminal activity, we would then allocate our tax dollars to lower that statistical trend, right? It's never going to be instances of crime are never going to be zero, but we would lower it. Right there is that, and you're implying, right, again, that gangs are coming, or let's say brown people are immigrating to the US and committing crimes. There is currently no tie between immigration and crime.
There's no. Oh, I would love to see you try to explain that to the family of Lincoln Riley. I would love to see you explain that to the family of Jocelyn Nungary. I would love to see you explain that to all the families of who are complete and direct victims of migrant crime.
Quiet, Joe.
I'd love to see that.
Around again, Joe.
I'm not. I'm giving you fact that I'm giving you two families that were affected by migrant crime, which you just said is not real.
It is, and right now we're looking at a study. This is from the Stanford department. This is Stanford's Ran Abramitsky. This is the Department of Economics from Stanford. The mythical tie between immigration and crime. Opponents of immigration often argue that immigrants drive up crime rates, but newly released research from Stanford economist Ran Abramitsky and his co-authors find that hasn't been the case in America for the last 140 years. This isn't the only study, Joe. There are studies after studies after studies showing that you are safer living in a neighborhood of immigrants That is, you want to be the safest? Live in a neighborhood of immigrants. Listen to this. This basically says, this ends up saying that when we look at white males, right, white males are 30% more likely to be incarcerated in America than immigrants. And when we factor in brown and black males, who we know because of racism, systemic racism in this country, are incarcerated at a much higher rate, it jumps up 62% more likely American citizen, brown and black males, to be incarcerated than immigrants. You are much more statistically safe in an immigrant neighborhood. Now, does that mean that no immigrants commit crimes, Joe?
No, of course not.
Of course not. You're right. And what Fox News is doing to you is they highlight these horrific
I don't watch
instances.
Fox News.
Okay, great. But that's okay. Then what the line of logic that that's collapsing in on you is something that is common on Fox News, but across all of right-wing media, right? Of course, like I said, we can never lower instances of crime to zero, right? Immigrants will commit crimes, right? They're horrific. They should never happen. We should condemn them. But is there a statistical tie between immigration and crime? No, there is not. We have isolated incidences that, sure, that's horrible, but when you highlight them and say, see, this is happening everywhere, it's happening everywhere. Well, mathematically, statistically, no, it's absolutely not. You'd be safer to move in a neighborhood of immigrants.
Okay, so you don't believe that the open border that we currently have and the border crisis that we currently have gone through for the last 3.5 years has any correlation with
I'm
crime?
not talking about my feelings. I'm not talking about my beliefs. I'm talking about mathematics and crime statistics.
Okay, so are those the same crime statistics that David Muir in the debate said that crime was down when it was really up?
Statistical migrant crime wave. That is a lie.
Okay, so the same way that David Muir in the debate a month ago with Donald Trump, when he was debating him rather than moderating a debate, said that crime was down according to the FBI when they were omitting facts from the biggest cities in the country.
Joe, I'm going to explain it to you because, you have no idea who you're talking to. I am much smarter than you. So
I'm just speaking as a free citizen using TikTok. That's all I'm doing.
There's two different things. So I'm gonna help you out here, and it's gonna help. There is an FBI database that was recently updated, right? And it got new software. So around 2020, right? And they're collecting data from major cities. But because municipalities who are voluntarily giving this data hadn't updated their software and got on the FBI's new system for a couple years, right? Not all major municipalities were being included in that data. However, if you know anything about statistics, that doesn't matter. There are other, like I always say, use real crime. The real crime database is a great one. There's several other crime databases who are tracking statistics in major municipalities as well as rural areas, and that could say that even without these, because still places like Los Angeles, like New Orleans, New York City, they're still reporting their crime statistics, which were being inputted into other databases, which showed that the FBI's numbers, in fact, weren't off. Crime was going down. Maybe statistically a little less quickly than they were saying, but it was going down. Now, as of we're halfway through, or we have crime statistics for all of 2023, I believe now. That has been updated, right? All major cities are now included in the FBI crime database. Anyone with over 1 million citizens or more, the MAGA line that Trump was clinging to was, oh, well, it's not the big cities. No, they're all in there now. And unequivocally, crime is going down. Now, outside of that, the other lie that you're spewing now, and you might not realize how Trump was lying to you, right? David Muir correctly fact-checked Trump and said, FBI says crime's going down. Other databases mirror that. It is true. But then 2 days after the debate, the debate was on a Tuesday, on Thursday, different DOJ crime statistics came out. Now, this is a survey. This is not about filing police reports. This is about, I believe it's like between 100 and 150 households are called, and they just ask, hey, have you been the victim of some simple assault? Because I know this is true as a woman. Women don't report crimes against them. I was jogging just a couple months ago. Someone pushed me into a fence and tried to mug me. I didn't file a police report. So that is just calling up households, right? And asking, to compare. Do people trust the police? Are they reporting these crimes? And Trump tried to draw some comparisons that turned out to be lies. I can give you resources about that show that actually crime has gone down. If we look since 1994, that's when crime was the highest in America. Statistically, whether it's the calls to the people calling and asking if they've been a victim of a crime, whether they reported or not, or FBI crime and similar databases, crime is going down. It was worse in the 90s than it is now.
Okay, the only point that I was really trying to
Are you still there? What just happened? Is Joe gone? Joe, I did not drop you if you're gone. Sorry. Is anyone request? Joe? Can you guys hear me? Joe, did you mute yourself? Let me send you. I don't know. It won't let me invite. I can't invite him to unmute. I'm not sure what. Maybe he got a call. Oh, he just left. Joe, if you want to request again and come back up. Yeah, he might have. Yeah, because I don't know. I did not touch anything, but it wouldn't let me request or invite him to unmute. Yeah, like the problem with these lines of logic and the problem with MAGA is just simple. If you actually do the research and you follow through, it's like, well, I read this on X and it sounds good. Like, oh yeah, there's a migrant crime wave. Is there a migrant crime wave statistically, or was I lied to? And they're talking about isolated, horrific incidences of crime, in fact, committed by migrants, but this is not a statistical trend in any way. In fact, where they're busing all these asylum seekers, right, who are in this country illegally or legally, right? Asylum seekers are legal. Crime is going down in the sanctuary city, in the majority of the sanctuary cities where they are in fact busing asylum seekers. It's just not true. And the deeper you dig into it, the more it just becomes clear it's not true. Guys, we are taking guests. If you would like to talk to me and explain to me why it's totally okay for Trump to have that rally at Madison Square Garden and spew a bunch of racist rhetoric and ideas, you are more than welcome to come up. Oh, and I do rely on your tips and donations to keep my research going. I think I had a Venmo to read. Let me pull it up really quick. Yep. Sue says, I cannot stand it when I see Latinos for Trump because Hispanic people from other countries believe Trump when he says Dems are socialists slash bad. US Latinos think he is better for the economy, including my own cousin. It makes me sad. I mean, again, that's a longer conversation of why things are like that. It's not just because Hispanics, like, oh, they just believe something they're being told. It's much more in depth. Like I said, this has to do with colonization. This has to do with the Catholic Church, right? Like this has Hispanic cultures are conservative, right? As someone who disappeared into South America and lived in several South American countries whose father is indigenous Mexican, I've walked over the US Mexico border hundreds of times. Like the Yaqui tribes from Sonora, the northern state of Mexico that borders Arizona. It's just, these are conservative places. Hispanics are more conservative than the United States, right? What does it take to become unconservative? Education, upward mobility, right? It takes a lot of things that the third world does not have. So yeah, like a fundamental misunderstanding, right? The US did the best PR job in the world during the Cold War and post World War II of saying communism bad. There's no communism being practiced anywhere. The only place I've ever personally witnessed communism being practiced is in the Amazon jungle. That's it. Communism is stateless, borderless, classless, moneyless society, right? Authoritarianism, totalitarianism is not communism, is not socialism, right? Socialism is about equity in the workforce or owning your own means of production. But thanks to the US PR machine, right? Socialism and communism are just mean very bad, awful. None of that. We have never. We don't have an example of communism outside of small groups, indigenous groups who exist. In or who have no contact with the American culture. I called. Please. Oh, thanks. Anyways, yeah, guys, tap the screen, share the live, gift, subscribe. I will be doing this. I miss this so much. That's if there's one thing. Look, guys, I even figured out how to draw. I have another mouse and keyboard coming today. Oh, and actually, I have a couple announcements as long as we're waiting for somebody to request. I wonder what happened to Joe. Um, Tomorrow, and again, I need to check my email right now, and I'll probably have more updates on this. But as far as campaign events in the swing state of Arizona, Gwen Walls is having some sort of rally type situation tomorrow. Tim Walls's wife. I think it's like early afternoon. But again, I hadn't seen an email with the location being confirmed. I believe that I'm going to um go to that tomorrow and cover that. And then Thursday, I told you guys, let me see if I have my email up still somewhere. I told you guys that there Kamala's doing this like final tour. Like she had Bruce Springsteen in Georgia. I heard I think she's having a really cool concert in Wisconsin. And I told you guys like the basic in Las Vegas, Hispanics will know who I'm talking about because it's like the Beatles. Mana is gonna play for Kamala in Vegas. That is like the literal Beatles showing up to your concert. And second only like to who she's having in Phoenix, Los Tigres del Norte are gonna play in Phoenix for Kamala Harris on Thursday. And so I'll be covering that rally, I imagine, probably like be live around like 4 p.m. on Thursday on Halloween. I'm thinking of wearing a skeleton onesie. I think I'm gonna wear a costume to the Kamala Harris rally. But again, so Gwen Walls is having like an event, a rally here tomorrow. So I will cover that. And then again on Thursday, there's Kamala Harris will be in Phoenix rallying, and there will be a huge crowd for that. Los Tigres del Norte. Yes, I can't even contain myself. Like, if you don't know who they are, look up their music. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons that Hispanics are largely conservative, but I'll tell you what, it starts and ends with European colonization, right? That's the idea. And I think the more educated people are and the more informed people become, then you learn that that is absolute BS. You just had to refollow me, Daniel. I think I am gonna wear a skeleton onesie with like a Harris Walls hat, but I think it's gonna be quite funny. I don't know. I think it'd be funny to be on the press platform in a skeleton onesie. We shall see. It depends my mood. Maybe I'll wear a blazer with so look more I'll just wear a blazer. It's it actually is going to be cool for a few days in Phoenix. I think the highs this week are only like 75, 77, etc., etc. Yeah, I think I might wear a skeleton onesie and like a blazer. Cuz obviously, we've gone this far filming and going to Kamala Harris events, and I feel like I've learned so much about campaigns. I will say it did make me miss the internet. Like, I just miss having a live every day on TikTok, debating. Like, it kind of taught me, like, the grass is not always greener on the other side. Following campaigns around like a chicken with your head cut off, it's much more fun to hang out with, like, the people I love and care about on TikTok. Yeah. Oh, Felix 78. What a great saying. My new mantra is I will never forget who you were in 2024. Amen. And exactly. I could not agree more. History will not remember these people well. Yeah, look how desperate Joe was to come up and be like, "Oh, it's different. It's different." Even though literally there are dozens of articles paralleling the exact quotes that speakers were using at yesterday's rally that were used at that Shitler rally in 1939. Even though they're literal word for word parallels that can be drawn quotes. There are clips. This is all on tape, people. And you can read through it. People did all the work for you. You don't have to do your own research. It's already done and you can just read it. They're like, no, that can't be true. That can't be true. Yeah, that's your cognitive dissonance feeling like, uh-oh, am I on the right? Am I on the wrong side of this? And the answer is yes, yes, you are. You very much are, in fact, on the wrong side of this. Yeah, well, I wanted Joe Biden was in Arizona last week, but he was only like he was just in an indigenous area, like he apologized to the indigenous peoples of Arizona for what happened. I don't know if you guys know what reservation schools are, but there's a long history of indigenous people and children being corralled in these horrific, abusive, like institutions, schools called reservation schools. Like one of the main roads in Phoenix, Arizona, it literally goes east to west, like across the whole state. It's called Indian School Road, and it literally bisects the entire like Maricopa County, and that's because in the center of that road where it crossed with like Central Avenue used to be one of the main reservation schools where they herded children. You know, in Canada at these schools they're uncovering like mass graves. All, you know, there was forced sterilizations going on. There were all sorts of horrific things happening. Yeah, that's the beauty of understanding history. I think that the one of the ways it's easy to be conservative and to get involved with MAGA is if you know, getting a history degree is a great way to disabuse yourself of everything you thought you could justify in your head. Yes, yeah, it's gross. Indian School Road. I'm just telling you the name of the road. We have a long journey. Arizona is one of the states where we're on a long journey to, let's say, rename a lot of things that are very offensive. And there's a debate in Arizona, like, should we rename everything or should we remember like what happened? You know, and like that's the ongoing debate. But we're renaming mountains, we're renaming schools, we're renaming mascots. Like you would we've come a long way, but like there's a genuine idea, like right where that reservation school was, where Indian School Road intersects with Central Avenue, there's a memorial there. It's called Indian Steel Park now, and it's like there's still a memorial for that reservation school so people don't forget. So I think that's why that road in particular hasn't in fact been renamed. It's about indigenous groups in Arizona not wanting people to forget what happened to them. Yeah, think about it, because right, Whimsical by Shelley, you don't think about it because in Arizona, that is one of the main roads. You just say that name, you never think, what does that mean? Like, I just remember before they knocked the actual reservation school down, because I'm a native born Phoenician. Like, I remember when it was still there. And like yeah, and the depiction of an indigenous person that was on the outside, it was not pretty. Why is it everything Indian? Well, that's a good question. It's because when European explorers were going west, the goal was to sail around the globe that they didn't understand how big it was or what was in the way and end up in India, right? That's why if you spend time in London, they call the Caribbean the West Indies, because in their mind they had circumvented the globe. And you know, they were always just trying to get to the spice trade, but the spice road was so dangerous, you know, and so many shipments were lost over land. They were trying to find a better sea route to the spice trade in India, and just ended up in the Americas and disrespected indigenous people and never looked back. So that's why we can't get away from that word. Is there an organization driving the cause of universal healthcare? Oh my gosh, yes. And now let me see if I can remember what it is for you. Oh, because Nurse Man is going to be so mad if I get this wrong. I think it's called a great example. Let me see if I can get it right. Washington. It might be called Washington One. Whole Washington Health. Is it Whole Washington? Maybe that's what it is. Yes, Whole Washington. Is this what it? Yes. Okay. This is an amazing resource. If you're interested in now, this is a proposition on the state level for the state of Washington, but it's fascinating because there's many ways to do universal health care. Like, right? Like we know the universal health care they have in Spain is very difficult than the universal health care they have in Portugal. There's many different types of universal health care, and this is just one model, right? Like Washington has this amazing organization of people that are advocating for universal health care on the state level and on the federal level. And hopefully we meet somewhere in the middle. But this has a justification of how they plan on paying for it as a state, like the whole 9 yards. So if you're interested in, and then there's also networking to like find out what's going on in your state, how you can advocate for universal health care in your own state. We are the only country in the developed world that does not have universal health care. Universal health care has better outcomes, right? Like there's no reason why we shouldn't have our healthcare paid for in this country. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, this is the best. It's called Whole Washington WHOLE Washington.org. And this is a great example. And like I said, they also have resources for if you live outside of the state, for the federal fight, for the state by state fight, volunteer groups, like advocacy. It's super cool. Yeah, we need single payer healthcare. And like I said, pay no attention to what's coming out of Kamala Harris's, this is the end. We're like at 8 days till a general presidential election. So she's moving back to the middle, but it'll be interesting to see, right? Like where does she really fall on these issues? And we won't really know until she wins. But yeah, like we need to move towards single payer healthcare or something extremely similar to that. It's absolutely embarrassing that we don't have it. Like, just again, there's statistical studies available letting us know that because of capitalism, right, we're just all being lied to consistently. If she can hear me say it, maybe she'll reconsider. Yes, maybe. We can only hope. What time is it? Tanya, okay, I have a message to read. Tanya says, for Sean to say if anyone called America garbage, he would be mad. Meanwhile, Trump says at every rally. I know, Sean is lost. I wish Sean was still in here. It's too bad Sean's not still in here because he should hear that. I could not agree more, Tanya. Every day, Trump says that America is garbage. It's a failing nation. It's garbage. This is something he says every single day. So if you are offended by that, he says it every single day, and you should recognize that. Thank you, Tanya. Always pointing out great stuff. Also, Tanya says, or was it Joe that said that? Either way, Trump poos on America every chance he gets. Yeah, it was. No, I do think it was Sean, though. Like, Sean was saying, like, or maybe it was Joe. Well, yeah, it's right. They're like, oh, yeah, I get why Puerto Ricans are mad. If someone said that about America, I'd be mad. Yeah, Trump is saying that every single day. Like the interesting juxtaposition of Donald Trump is what's happening in his in his rallies versus what Kamala is saying. At the exact moment where that comedian is disparaging Puerto Ricans, Kamala's in Pennsylvania reaching out to Puerto Ricans, asking them to be part of her coalition. Like it's night and day. Joe, Sean, they also I know. Isn't that always the case? Isn't that always the case? Guys, it is almost 3 o'clock. I'm sorry. I meant to go live at like 11:30, but then like 3 hours of technical difficulties sort of derailed me. But I'm glad that I have figured this out. Again, I need to figure out, let me check my email really quick and see if I have an update. I need to figure out, I believe probably around noon tomorrow is the Gwen Walls rally, and I'm going to go cover that. I've been covering events, like political events. I only have a few more to go. So I want to make sure I do that. I'll let you guys know. And then I definitely want to do lives this week though. Like maybe possibly if tomorrow's rally is early in the morning, I won't tomorrow. But then I'll be back on Wednesday doing a live, and then Thursday is Kamala's rally. But but that's not till nighttime. So I should, don't quote me on this, be able to do Wednesday and Thursday rallies. Maybe not tomorrow because I think the Gwen Walls thing might be early. Oh, I don't have, let me check my email. We have, oh, arrival instructions for the Gwen. Okay, it's here. We are looking forward to receiving you at the event with the First Lady of Minnesota, Gwen Walls, in Phoenix, Arizona, Tuesday, October 29th. Okay. Please arrive at 10:45 a.m. and no later than 11:15. This is Pacific time or Mountain Standard Time, same thing right now. It's Pacific Daylight Time and Mountain Standard Time. So, yeah, I have to no later than 11:15. So 10:45. Yeah, so I won't do a live in the morning. I'm just going to be at the Gwen Walls event. I'll try to be live then by no later than 11:30. Let's see. Yeah, there's not, this actually doesn't have that much information. Where is this? Oh, and it's like in downtown Phoenix, it looks like. It's on First Avenue. Yeah, this is like in downtown Phoenix. So I'm not sure where the event is. I just see, uh, oh, it's at a park. I think it might be outdoors. I haven't done an outdoor rally. Good, better internet. I can't stand being inside. Okay, yeah. So probably no rally in the morning tomorrow because I'm going to cover this Gwen Walls event, which will be at a park in downtown Phoenix. Looks like I need to be there by 10:45 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So that's what we'll look forward to tomorrow. Then I'll do a live on Wednesday and hopefully Thursday morning, and then we'll go to the Halloween Los Tigres del Norte Kamala Harris rally, which is going to be, I hear, very, very cool. So, again, thanks for bearing with me today through all the many technical issues and figuring out my sound on TikTok Studio. But now that I have it figured out, hopefully we'll be able to do this. Mountain is an hour before Pacific. No, it's not. Look, so Arizona does not have daylight savings. So right now, Arizona is always on Mountain Standard Time. We never deviate. Everyone else, except for and Indiana, there's places, not all of Indiana, but parts of Indiana are like us. We're always on Standard Time. So I'm in Arizona on Mountain Standard Time right now. Mountain Standard Time aligns with Pacific Daylight Time, right? Because in the mountain, everyone else in the mountain region is on Mountain Daylight Time, which is an hour later. Gets confusing. You live in Colorado and it's an hour before LA. Yeah, that's not true. I don't know what to tell you. You're on Mountain Daylight Time. You're an hour after Pacific Daylight Time. And again, I am on Mountain Standard Time, which is different than Mountain Daylight Time. Arizona does not recognize daylight savings time. I'm like, you got to think about what I'm saying. Mountain Standard Time is in line with Pacific Daylight Time. Mountain Standard Time is an hour earlier than Mountain Daylight Time. But again, I think November 3rd, daylight savings happens. So then I will be, the people like in Colorado, Daniel, you will be moving an hour backwards, right? And you'll be back on standard time with me in Arizona. And then we'll be on the same time. Yeah. Just to give you another idea. It is right. Yeah, it's 3 p.m. in LA and it's 4 p.m. in Colorado. Yeah, it's an hour later in Colorado. It's almost like it's what is figured out daylight saving times. We should really get rid of it. Daylight savings time was for like like before electricity when they needed more daylight to harvest crops. Like it's pretty unnecessary at this point. But anyways, I think that's good enough for today. I'm so glad we figured out our sound issues. So tomorrow again, probably let's say by 11:30 Pacific Daylight Time / Mountain Standard Time, I will be live at the Gwen Walls First Lady of Minnesota rally, and I will cover that live. And then back to a live on Wednesday. I'll announce the time because I think I might do it a little later from now on. But I'm so glad I figured out TikTok Studio because now I never have to go through the 5 hours of figuring it out again. It's over. So, okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow, 11:30 Pacific time. at the Gwen Walls rally in downtown Phoenix. Look it up if you want to come. I think there, like, anyone can attend. So I'll be somewhere there, and I hope to see you guys as